How important is Sage 300C, otherwise known as running Accpac in a browser? Let's find an answer by looking at Accpac's roots and the transformation of the computer industry that took place in those times. By understanding the past, we can get a perspective on the massive change taking place today and the importance of Sage 300C. The change I'm talking about is mobility, a behavioral change ushered in by the mobile devices and apps of today, but distinct from those apps and devices. In 1977, I attended the first West Coast Computer Fair in San Francisco, where the first home computers, such as the Apple II, were introduced. Later that same year, my partner Keith and I left our mainframe and mini-computer jobs to form a company and write business software for those computers. We thought the computers would be everywhere. Most of our colleagues thought we were crazy and we'd soon be bankrupt. By the way, home computer wasn't what the revolution was all about. It was personal use, whether in home or in business. And also, software became a much more important part of the industry. Against general wisdom, Keith and I wrote the first few lines of Accpac code in 1977 on a Sol 20 computer with a grand total of 32K of RAM. We had to be creative, we had to be innovative because the standards of today didn't exist. We invented the first system manager, data integrity checker, and smart finder. We understood that we needed a channel of accounting professionals to support our products. And we published the first accounting third-party SDK because we knew that we couldn't handle all of the needs of a mid-market all by ourselves. In 10 years, Accpac became the #1 mid-range accounting product in the world, and we had sold our company to Computer Associates. Around the same time, Microsoft introduced a new operating system called Windows, and it was slowly gaining traction. In 1996, I was brought back to head up development after a 10-year absence. The Accpac community was in turmoil because of a new Accpac for Windows product. It was slow, partly because components were written in COBOL, and it crashed too frequently, partly because the user interface programs were written in a non-standard version of BASIC. But Accpac for Windows had a great architecture separating the business logic, the long-term logic, from the user interface code, which changes with the style of the day. And because of this, because of the great architecture, we were able to replace components and rebuild Accpac for Windows into a world-class product. It's that same architecture that today enables Sage to write a new browser-based interface appropriate for the modern mobile world. I've talked about the personal computing revolution of the 1970s and 80s. The revolution that's happening today may be even bigger. It's all about mobility. We carry our computers wherever we go, and you may love it or you may hate it, but it's hard to avoid it. So why would Sage create a browser-based interface instead of a native mobile app? Well, if you understand accounting applications, you realize that they'll still need to support the traditional typing data entry mechanisms as well as adapt to tapping and voice. And an HTML5 browser provides exactly that kind of functionality, support for the traditional and quick adaptation to the new. Things will change significantly, and I'll give you an example. When I'm driving to work and I'm driving behind a taxi, it always wants me to download their mobile app. I don't want a yellow cab taxi app. I don't want a McDonald's app or a Wendy's app. What things are going to evolve into is a mapping application that does the right thing when I say, Siri, nearest fast food. So things will change. Let's get back to the question, how important is Sage 300C? Well, what I've tried to show is that if you are interested in accounting applications, and if you believe we're entering a large technology shift, and you can understand that an HTML5 browser is the perfect vehicle for a transition point, And if you understand that accounting applications take many years to write and therefore reuse of proven business logic is critically important, then you can see why all the excitement is all about Sage 300C. In summary, I feel privileged to be part of the teams that built and then rebuilt Accpac. I'm happy to see that Sage is leveraging our architecture and business logic to create a new modern browser-based interface appropriate for a mobile world.